Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Grounded with DillyDave. In this episode, we're vibing with SR, aka FlowRen, and we're hanging out at Red Betty's Bar in Brunswick. FlowRen is an aspiring MC whose journey from a young immigrant from the Philippines to a voice in the local scene is certainly a heartwarming one. But before we jump into the episode, just some quick housekeeping. This podcast should release 2 episodes a week on Wednesday and Sunday evening, 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Video episodes are now on YouTube as well. There is also a Spotify playlist called Grounded Tunes that will contain music from guests of the podcast. I encourage you to check it out to get the full grounded experience. So, who is FlowRen? FlowRen isn't just an MC, he's a guy with a mission. His goal is to make a positive impact through the healing power of music and community. With a heart as deep as his lyrics, SR is the embodiment of what it means to find oneself in the rhythm of life. So, dive into a conversation about the transformative power of music, the magic of words, and the journey of self-discovery within the Melbourne music scene. FlowRen shares his experiences from supporting local acts to lighting up open mic nights with his thoughtful and energetic bars. While FlowRen is gearing up to release his music, his blog offers a window into his inner world. It's a space where his thoughts and insights flow as freely as his lyrics, so be sure to check it out. Join us as we explore the mind and motivations of an artist who may not yet have tracks to his name, but a wealth of ideas and a vision for his place in the world of music. FlowRen is a name you will want to remember. Let's go.
I was very surprised when you asked me. I was like, really?
Why? You're ahead, you're involved, you're not only like a punter or audience member, you get up, you participate, you show and share, you're active in the community. And I think for me, that's all I really need to have a chat with somebody like.
Yeah, that's true.
In the context of this podcast, which is like people out there doing the thing.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. And I guess I think that's the hardest thing, when you're in this particular scene. It's like just the constant support that needs to always happen.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're left wondering, why am I doing this?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, thanks for having me again,
cool.
Man. Appreciate it.
No worries. Well, this is it. Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Grounded with DillyDave, a.k.a. the Milky Bar Kid. Today, we are joined by FlowRen, a.k.a. SR.
What's up? Thank you. Thanks for having me again, bro.
Thank you so much for coming on. So before we really just get into it, a great way, I think, to get grounded is to acknowledge the sacred ground that we're recording and kind of operating on. So just like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the lands that we're operating on now, the Wurundjeri and the Burrung people of the Kulin Nation are the kind of the areas that I kind of, operate on. So I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, no treaties were signed, and I think it's important to be conscious of, the grounds that we operate on when we can share our stories here.
Yeah, well said, man. Yeah. I feel like that's one thing that everyone, I feel like, should learn a little bit about. Doesn't matter which country it's from, because I feel like every country's been in a similar position, but
right. Yeah, I think that's a good point. So, a lot of countries, whether it's colonialism or some other form of takeover, or, the thing is with countries and borders, they're shifting always, throughout time. But, wherever you find yourself, there is some kind of importance in, having some awareness or at least acknowledging who has been there the longest.
Yeah, well said.
Cool.
Respect.
So the reason why I brought SR onto the podcast is because we have a good back and forth. We have a good flow and good chats.
Well said.
And we have known each other for, it's probably getting on close to a year or so, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So it started Blue Bar last year, I imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe winterish?
No, I think, if anything...
A little bit later?
Yeah. I know the first time I went to Blue Bar, was the start of this year.
Okay.
So,
okay. Cool.
and the only reason I remember that is because I remember trying to psych myself up, trying to get up on stage.
All right, so Blue Bar, let's give some context of people. So
yes.
on the podcast, I've talked about the Dojo, which is freestyle cypher nights, hip-hop night put on by Mono the Messenger, and DJ Daily and DJ Detective. So I think these have been the nights that have given me the best into the scene and the community, because that's where people go to like show and demonstrate what they're capable of, whether it's flexing on the mic with a prepared 16 or showing people that they can freestyle.
Yep.
But these are the nights where we get to meet and chat and network. So I guess my question for you is like, how did you find out about the dojo, and kind of what were you doing before then? How did you get into it?
Oh man, well, really it was just everything online presence.
Yeah.
All the the normal internet things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it because we're not getting paid for that.
Sure. No sponsors yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember just following it and then just kind of seeing like what it was like, and then I remember just wanting to just really, you know what? If I'm gonna give music a shot, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah.
Where everyone else is kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have like an expectation as to what it was gonna be like.
Yeah.
But I remember when Mono first spat, and then he had someone else with him, I was just like, and then the crowd was just like so supportive. I was like, that's it. Nah. Like I was going in there, man. My heart was beating fast. I was like, am I really gonna do this? I had my brothers and my cousins there, and they were just like, you know what? Don't even have to. But I was like, nah. I came here to do this, so I've got to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So interesting. So you'd been working on music a little bit or getting into it beforehand. Like, what's your kind of background and history? Because I really don't know that much about
that's
you.
That's good, man. Yeah, that's all good. Let me share.
Yeah.
So
please.
basically, long story short, man, it's like I feel like there's something within all of us that it craves to complete something, like our inner soul, no matter what it is. We've all got that something where it's like, what if, what if should I try it? And I guess after that whole time of being separated from everyone, and you've finally got that time to just be hey, do I let myself slide off, or should I try and actually get into this? And
you were talking about the effects of the COVID period.
Yeah,
right?
man. Yeah, well said. Yeah, exactly that. So I thought, you know what, and at that time, man, like I was working in an office for like 15 years,
right?
And that energy is just like wasn't for me, man.
What energy?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
No energy
at all. Fucking hell. It's not even a vanilla milkshake.
Not even, man.
Shit.
Not even the essence.
Not even the essence of vanilla, no. You can't squeeze any energy out of that space.
Nothing, man. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. And then that's it, man. Like I thought, you know what? Like I'll just do it how the old heads do it, man.
Yeah.
Listen and just kind of do my own thing.
Yeah.
And then I guess I just kept writing. I did it for before I even got up on the, I guess, at Blue Bar for that open mic. I was just writing and just listening for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know what everyone else is like, but I get pretty excited when I try new things. So I'll just jump straight into it.
Yeah, but it does take, it does take a while with the rap thing to get comfortable and have something prepared or feel like you're prepared to go out on a stage. There's quite the build up.
Yeah, it's true.
I think especially, because you have to figure out how to write, what you want to write about, and there's this whole process of figuring out who you are and why you're doing this.
Oh, man, well said. And it's like, I'll add on to that. It's like being able to gather your thoughts concisely. I remember writing the first time, and it was just like I was jumping from A to B to Z to Y to T to U. Then it was like, there was nothing.
Yeah, because your thoughts aren't organized properly initially.
Yeah, man.
It's just
yeah.
so there is a lot of noise. There's a lot of like things coming in from all different angles.
Well said.
So yeah, when you sit
Well
down for the
said.
first time to try and write, it's like, whoa,
Overwhelming, man. It's overwhelming because especially if, say, you've never expressed yourself.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably one of the hardest thing as a human being. I mean, to express.
Right, just to even just to yourself, to try and sit down and get something
Preach.
out that's somewhat meaningful to you. I mean,
Yeah.
so much work involved with that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so like with the music stuff, like going back to your question, like that was pretty much it, man, you know, like, and I felt like, I really do believe like if something's meant for you and it's pure, like you're very pure to it, the universe will throw out signs. Like I wanted to learn an instrument, Dave. Like I wanted to learn the piano for so many years, but I didn't have enough patience, or I didn't want to give up my own time for it. You know?
Right, because there is a sacrifice involved.
Yeah, word up. And then it's like from out of nowhere, one of our family friends is like, "Oh, we're gonna throw away this piano. Like, do you want it? Electric keyboard." And I was just, and my parents are like, "SD1." I'm like, "Yeah, man."
What is it, Christmas already?
I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like even just that first piece of instance, man.
Right.
You know, like it was just like, oh wow, like something's really telling me to just try it.
Yeah, the universe is giving you a little nod.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, so it was like, and then I remember like before I even gotten, and I'll be honest, man, like I'm like a fetus in this whole Melbourne scene of rap. I do not know nothing, and I'm not gonna act like I do because I don't. You know, like seeing all these old heads, like Omega Man, 2207. Man, I did not have a clue who any of them were.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
But it wasn't until that I got into this whole scene that I was just like, man, the culture here is strong.
It's
You know what I
stacked.
mean?
The talent's stacked.
No?
There's a lot of activity.
Yeah, man.
A lot of cool pockets, a lot of cool sounds, a lot of cool people.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was like, before I even got onto the Aussie scene, like there's this group in the States called Grind Mode Cypher.
Okay.
And basically I listen to them, watch their thing, and they usually do like weekly shows how they critique songs, and they'll have,
Oh, nice.
yeah, and then they'll have like competitions. And anyway, this is gonna sound cheesy, but it was like they had this chain that was like to win for a raffle.
Yeah.
I remember saying to myself, if I get that chain, this is it for me. Like, this is it. Yeah, I put in $1 for the lottery that they had, and I put it in like the last 10 minutes before they're closing it. Guess what? I got that chain.
That's fucking huge. So that's the second big nod from the universe,
Yeah,
being
man.
like, "Hey, if you're in, we'll support you," kind of thing.
Yeah. So it was like, nah, after that, like that piano, that thing. I know it might be a lot to think about, or like people might think like, oh, you're thinking too much into it. But man, like because of how pure I wanted it, like how much I really just wanted music into my life, I guess that's when this whole thing started, you know? So it was like, ever since then, I've just been trying to learn the piano, just singing, you know, learning from everyone. You know, I go to all these open things just to see how, I guess, people can control by using words, man. It's a big thing.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in, and so many people do it in different ways. There is a lot of overlap and similarities, but honestly, I was very similar to you 4 or 5 years ago, going to open mics and shows just to watch, just to take part, just to absorb, and going to mic nights like Dojo, and before that it was called Can I Kick It? And there was another night in Footscray called All You Can Spit. And, you know, often I would go to these nights with the intention of not going up and not doing the thing, just to kind of take it all in.
Yeah.
But once you're there,
man.
Once you're feeling it, once you're seeing people doing it, you're like, you know what? I feel the music. I want to go up, and I have to do it. You feel almost possessed to do it.
Yeah, it's true. But like for yourself, like what made you kind of choose this path as well? Like music-wise, I mean, it doesn't have to be rap. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like just music-wise.
No, I got a reasonable answer for that. So, about 6-ish years ago, I was studying audiovisual technology at RMIT, like a diploma. And there was a good handful of people that I met in that course that were musicians or already had history with like video production or were just general creatives and artists.
Mm-hmm.
So I started hanging out with them, you know, they became my friends. And then when I was hanging out with them, you know, like outside of TAFE, you know, they would be jamming and improvising and freestyling. Like shout outs to the Rudy V, aka Homeboy G.
What's up?
Yeah. He was one of the first people who, like, I used to go and watch him do acoustic sets where he'd, you know, have the acoustic guitar, but then like rap and sing over it. And yeah, like seeing him like do that at home, messing around, and then seeing him do it on stage with an organized thing, I was like,
oh snap,
this is very cool. I was always into writing, like I write poetry for ages, like starting in like, I don't know, year 10 or 11. So creative writing was always interesting for me. I've always known the magic and power of words, you know, like one of the funniest things or the most interesting things that's in my mind a lot of the time is, you know, there's the word spelling and spell is right in there, you know, like this connection between words, magic and outcomes and moving matter essentially, you know, like if we use our speech in a particular way, we can do kind of incredible things with it.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Well said. Yeah.
And you know, rap isn't the only example of that, but it's a very good example of that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, see my friends jam and then they would like encourage or be open to me like playing around with freestyle, and then you go through that awkward phase of years where you awkwardly are trying to freestyle and stuff and trying to get it kind of down, like just trying to almost feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I think that you need friends who are kind of supportive in those early moments where you are trying stuff like that. Because if they kind of just trash you right away, then the chances of you pursuing it is very minimal. It's interesting because in saying that, the last podcast, which will be out if you're watching this now, with Shining, he was talking about, you know, how he got up in the scene in South Africa, and it was a lot more like you have to prove yourself. You know, people are going to criticize you. A crowd will boo you if you're kind of whack or not bringing it. But his mentality is the appropriate response to that is to fucking work out harder and come back harder. You know, you have to learn from that. You have to kind of take the L or the embarrassment or whatever that is to bounce back, and that's going to build you into a more fierce wordsmith, if you will.
Yeah, man. Ooh, I like that. Fierce wordsmith.
But damn. I think, you know, that is great, but that isn't the experience that everyone's going to warm to.
No.
And I think if people want to get into something like rap or hip hop, like a way to, you know, we're talking about expressing and understanding yourself and collecting thoughts. Like, I think that should be something that anybody should be able to tap into.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And yeah, for me, if I didn't have those friends kind of just openly supportive of me freestyling and joining in what they were doing, even though I didn't necessarily have any talent or skill points at that time. You know, it was like, they were like, fuck it. So from then I went into like writing more and organizing a couple tracks, you know, because in that group, people like produced or made music, and then I was messing around with it. You know, they taught me how to use Ableton and other bits and pieces, and it just got to the point where I, you know, look, I've always been a pretty confident person, especially when it comes to public speaking and stuff. So that wasn't the biggest hurdle I had to overcome. It was more like building material to perform and present.
And I think that's daunting, man, because it's like, how will people perceive it, you know? Right,
especially because, you know, I guess my entry in the way that I think that a lot of people probably should get involved or start, you know, with doing hip-hop here in Melbourne is you got to hit open mics. It doesn't matter who the audience is, who the other artists are. It doesn't matter if everyone else is like playing guitar and they're singer-songwriter. You know, if you go out there and you do your thing and you're kind of like somewhat committed or somewhat care about it,
Yeah, man.
you know, it doesn't matter whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. There's going to be support. There's going to be encouragement. There's going to be feedback. There's going to be a sense of participation and engagement in the community.
Yeah, it's true, and I feel like that you're right on that, you know, especially here in Melbourne. Like, if they can see you're giving it a try, that's it, man.
That's
You're
almost enough.
Yeah, literally, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like what you said about like Shynan's experience. Like, I'll be real, like I don't think I could, if I was in his situation, I don't think I would have even thought of like, you know what, I should try harder. I would have been like a bit down a little bit. I'd be like, oh man.
You would have been discouraged.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it would probably take me a little bit to get back up, but then it's like,
yeah.
But for this scene here, like if anything, even if you fumble, man, we've both seen it where it's like people fumble on stage and everyone's just going, yeah, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah. Like,
you know?
Like, it's one of the most rarest things to get booed off a stage.
Yeah, man.
I think the only context where it would be even almost appropriate or almost likely to happen is in a rap battle context.
Yeah.
But even then, even if you do choke, like we've been to rap battle nights and stuff, and we've seen it, and like even if somebody chokes, and you know, you have to be a very hated asshole of a person for people to be like, get the fuck off stage.
Yeah. I feel that. Respect to that. No, I agree, man. Because it's like, I don't know, maybe it's in my nature to not do that, but it's like for me, I just don't understand it because it's like, I'm trying, you're not.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Do you know what I mean? So
you're like, what authority do you have to have any commentary or reflection except for like, I either like this or I don't really. I guess. I mean, you know, look, a real head that really loves rap battles and doesn't necessarily participate, but they geek out on like who's who and who does what.
Yeah.
Even then, like you don't have the kahunas to fucking go up there and get it, so you're not really qualified to like
nothing, man.
boo or nothing.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
it's not. I don't know. Just for me, like I don't know. I don't see it as a productive thing. Do you mean for anyone, even for the person that's booing? Like, do you mean like I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it's just like I would never do that to anyone. And I guess like if I can see a person trying really hard, even whatever it is, battles, freestyles, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Like, at least they're doing it, but yet you got something to say. You mean like?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a very similar mentality or mindset when it comes to the scene and what we do. I think we're both here to kind of like make positive impacts where we can. We're here to have good interactions with people. We're here to like grow, learn, and heal with each other.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Oh, you said that perfectly. It's true. Because really, man, like music is healing. You mean?
100.
And it's like when you continuously, especially writing, man, you know, and I feel like creative writing and hip hop is pretty much the same thing, man.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and it's like just even getting all those thoughts that you thought were like, do they feel real?
Yeah, you get to reality check yourself.
Yeah, bad, man. Yeah. So it's like after you met all those guys, you kind of just kept...
Yeah, well, I kept going to open mics and like building, you know, sets.
Yeah.
Initially, my approach was I would just go on YouTube. I was very much into the kind of the trap sounds initially.
Yeah.
I would just get a whole lot of tracks.
Yeah.
And one of my initial approaches to doing a 15-minute like open mic set, most open mics in Melbourne like 15, 20 minutes. I'd find all these tracks that I thought were jams.
Yeah.
I would write one verse and a hook to all of them, and then I put them back to back. So it's kind of like just kind of like swapping out these different vibes and just like quickly going between them. You know, I'm not sitting there trying to do complete songs because I think initially at the start it's very hard to create a complete song.
Man.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you must feel that very hard.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I feel like a full song is like your own statement on whatever, I guess, the topic you want to attack of a song.
Yeah, it's like a statement or an essay or some shit.
Yeah. And it's like for you to complete it all, that's tough, man. First go, you know what I mean? Like, have you had any songs that you were like, when you first wrote it, you were like, and now you look back at it and you're like, I could do better than that now. Like,
All of them, all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
every
love it.
single one. Like,
yeah.
you know, I had a recording session with Wrath last week, and even after the fact, I'm like, you know what, we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna do it better. And it wasn't like the lyrical content or anything; it was the delivery and the flavor.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if you
man.
have it down, even if you've got it on paper and it looks good on paper,
Yeah.
translating that into this thing that, you know, is alive,
Yeah, man.
you know,
it's
it's such a
true.
big stretch and step. And, you know, I've got 2 EPs and a couple singles out. And I think as like projects, they're cool little, they all sound like they come from the same world. You know, they're cohesive and they kind of go together. But yeah, like the writing for me is often one of the biggest things. When I look at old tracks, I'm like, I could write that so much better. Because honestly, dude,
Yeah.
it took me 4 or 5 years to know actually how to write bars.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, it's true, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true because like when you first write it, you're just like, okay, yeah, I gotta write stuff, but the the structure of the actual music,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you're not identifying the pattern or the structure, and you're not writing to that. And look, that's one thing, right? Like, it's one thing to identify the cool pattern that you want to follow through,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
flow, like identifying the flow.
yeah,
That's one thing. But then you can write a whole verse with cool flow and structure and pattern, and you could just be like casually rhyming at the end of the bar,
yeah,
but they're not like punchlines or not bars, or it's not like very you're not really using like play on words or double entendres or wordplay, you know.
yeah.
You kind of just rhyming,
It's true. Yeah,
which is
yeah.
still rap. You know, rap is rhythm and poetry, like that's what it
Yeah.
is. But I think, you know, we hang out and know such high caliber of lyricists and rappers that it's very hard not to know the difference.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, yeah. And I feel like, you know, when you're first, I guess, when you first hear and see those things, you're like, wow.
Yeah,
Like, I can't believe that he made that up.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You
That
know?
started as like pen on pad or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And do you find that now for you when you're writing? We'll go back to your 2 EPs. Like,
No, please. And I also love the reversal of the interview, so please feel free to ask me any and all of the questions as well. Yeah. By the end of this podcast, it'll be fucking FlowRen.
Nah, man. Not at all. No, I just want to know.
Grounded with SR. You bastard.
Why'd you do that, bro?
Yeah.
No, I just want to know because it's like, you know, like, I guess like in the beginning, like you were just saying, this is how we just chat. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
No, please don't be put off by
yeah,
that. Please
nah,
continue.
not at all. It's just so like when you first wrote like your
EPs.
EPs, like especially your first one. What's the first of your name EP?
It's called what is it called? Something to do with money.
Yeah.
Because the tracks were all produced by Sixpence.
No way.
Yeah.
Yo, big love, homie.
Shout out Sixpence, but not because like they were just tracks that he had. They were just like part of his
Catalog.
You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
weren't built specifically for that.
Yeah.
What was it called? Give
Do
me a
it.
second. I gotta
Do it.
I gotta look it up.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah.
please go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I guess the reason why I asked about that first EP was, I guess, in terms of writing,
Yeah.
like, how did you feel about your writing caliber at that time?
Yeah, well, I think
You know what I mean?
when you're writing in the moment, you always think that whatever you're doing is good.
Facts.
Because you wouldn't like put it out if you didn't think that there was something there.
Yeah.
It's called 4 cents.
There it is. 4 cents.
Yeah,
Produced by
so-
6 pence. What's up?
So that was like 4 cents. That EP was where I kind of started to started to understand what bars were. And that was mainly from the influence of people like Sixpence, who is like very bar
man.
heavy.
Yeah, man.
Who really puts a lot of thoughts into like And not because of like he wants to convey crazy deep meaning. Not saying that he doesn't do that at all, but he wants to like flex.
Yeah, man.
You
he
know,
wants to blow your mind.
He wants to blow your mind. Totally. So having that influence from that, and then also like writing to his tracks, like he's very boom bappy.
Yeah, man.
Kind of like dank, very kind of street stuff, and yeah, that encouraged me to like step away from just finding rhymes at the end of a bar or a line, and figuring out patterns, and then also trying to involve some wordplay, some like pop culture references.
Oh, that's cool.
All those kind of things, which it takes a little while to get to that, and I've always been very hipster in my approach of like, you know, anything that's popular I don't like, you know. It's so stupid. I think I'm growing out of that, but back then it was very much like I wasn't interested in doing what other rappers were, which was like referencing fucking movie stars just for the sake of doing it, right?
No, I get you. And I'll add on to that, man.
Please.
It's like, I feel like that train of thought will allow you in our minds to be the artist that you want to be. Because I feel you, man, because there's some things where it's like, I'll give you an example. Like for me, I try not to use the word like
absolutely,
like this. English is so complicated that you can create a sentence without the word like.
Yeah, 100 different ways.
Yes,
the same sentence, right?
Yeah. So in a way, like, I understand why you were thinking like that, just because I felt that with how you were thinking at that time, you want to stand out. You mean? And and that's how that's how it should be. You mean, like,
trying to find your authentic approach or your voice, or
because it's like it's I'm not saying it's bad to use like or anything, but it's more like a personal challenge for yourself.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean?
For me, the only time now that I'm going to be using like in a bar, don't quote me on this.
No quoting allowed. Please don't.
But the only time I'm going to use it is if it actually serves a punchline that's probably set up.
That's it. That's
the only time. And one of the biggest things that's impacted my writing, which, you know, I can't pat myself on the back for necessarily, aside from taking part in it, but I've probably talked to you about Keyboard Warriors before.
Yes, I remember
the
you
battles.
Saying that. Yeah.
So essentially, Seth Sentry, who's like an OG dope head, he's like the champion of nerd rappers.
Yeah.
But also, like, you know, kicked it with 60 and
no way.
You know, all those people back in back in like a more golden era of Australian hip hop, I think. You know, 15, 20 years ago or whatever. Anyway, he started this online rap battle stream live through Twitch.
Yeah.
And the idea is you sign up, there's divisions. So say if you're a brand new sign up, you enter promos. So you got 2 battles to kind of figure out what division you go into. There's player 1, player 2. So you get given a track, an opponent, and then you either go first or you wait for the opponent to send their verse in. Verses are 4 bars.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's like you can't waste. There's no waste.
Cool. Yeah.
Because every single line has to either attack, rebut, or boost you up somehow.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it was mainly through that where, like, initially I was just like writing creative fun things, right, and that can only get you so far, because I was really relying on like the flow and the sound, more so than like what the words on the fucking pad were doing.
Man.
Like, if there's no hits or there's no punches, and then somebody's taken 1 or 2 punches at you and you've done nothing to address, rebut, or throw back in their face, then that's it. You've lost.
Yeah, that's true. Man, is that like those videos that you put up where it's
correct?
Like that? That nice.
So that's where they come from.
That was sick.
So I started about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago.
And
that is where, because what happens is currently there's about 150 rappers involved in that league.
Damn.
Which is massive, all across the world. You know, mainly in Australia. It's probably like majority in Australia, but all across the world, man. And you got Seth Sentry and other people. Initially, it was just Seth Sentry who'd like judge all the battles, but volume now is just like there's 3 judges, and it's a bit more precise in the way that they judge it. But you know, you have 8 bars. You have like 4 days to write 8 bars, and in the attempt of writing those 8 bars, you write 50 fucking bars or
man,
whatever.
you have to. Yeah. It's the most lethal one you choose, man.
Right. So there's all that excess. And then you're also watching all these other battles that are happening and being like, oh,
man.
wow, okay.
Yeah,
No shit. These are different
shit.
styles. You know, this person is a bit more like brutal in their approach, and it's all like very visceral, violent imagery. And then other people are like a bit more kind of smart alecky, or you know, they find good angles, and they're not necessarily like talking in a destructive manner, but they're still able to like disarm and fuck up their opponent.
Yeah, it's true, man.
So through that, because what happens is your battle goes up, and you know they play it live. So you record vocals, you send them in, they play it live. It's like the whole audience gets to see the battle unfold.
Yeah.
And then it's critiqued and broken down and judged, and there's a winner and a loser.
Damn, that's heavy. That's heavy.
So like you going in, and for me when I'm starting, like the first season, certainly like a lot more losses than wins, but every single loss, dude, every single loss, if you don't quit, every single loss, you're like, I gotta do it better. I gotta figure out how to do it better.
I feel like, especially with battle raps, man, I feel like, man, like I've always thought about doing it, but then I know that you have to find your angle on how you want to battle rap. That's what I've kind of learned watching battle raps,
Yeah, I think there has to be some kind of character or angle or approach that you kind of champion. And I think that works for you to be able to write in that voice. And I think it works for like an audience to be able to back that person because of that, because you're this identifiable character.
Yeah.
There's one, I don't really know the rapper personally, but I saw this one rapper named Generic, through some online battle, whatever. And I was like, that's interesting, but doesn't really give you any power. Because you're almost just saying that you're average. It's like, MC average. And it's unless you're a fucking phenomenal writer and performer, I feel like it's very hard to like win an audience as MC average.
It's true.
So I think that they need something, the audience needs something to get behind, and I think you need a strong voice to ride in. So that really worked with me because my first two EPs, like see here it says DillyDave, so I was going as DillyDave was like the MC name for a while, and then it's like, but that's how all my friends know me. It's kind of more of a nickname than anything else. So then I had to embrace this other entity or avatar or alias, being the Milky Bar Kid, and that kind of gives me direction. It's like, okay, what is the Milky Bar Kid? He's like this kind of like young, humorous, lighthearted, smooth talker. Right? And like within that, that gives me some shape and direction.
And I think it's good like how you gave yourself that time to think, because man, like it's true, man, our MC's names, like it really is our avatar. You mean?
Yeah.
Like FlowRen, so the way I chose that name is because it's like Flow, because Florentino is my last name.
Yeah, right.
And I just like that sound of how flow, how it sounds, so it's like a wave.
Yeah.
And then like
I can guess the just because I looked on your website blog thing, I can guess the Ren part.
Yeah, what's up?
Is it Chinese for people? Is
that correct? That's correct.
It's a cool pairing, man. I think that's great.
So it's like, so really like I think that name suits how I want to express the music. You mean?
Right. It's
like for the people.
Please, yeah.
You mean? And it's like having known now that how you found your name, it really explains, like I'd love to hear other people's like how the hell did you come up, like did you have another name before that?
Right.
You mean?
Right.
And it's like I know as time progresses we all have to change those names because you mean it's
because we're shedding identities often, there's a between 5 and 7 years, we're going through different phases. And after a growth period of that long, we're transforming all the time. And I think a lot of rappers they go through 2, 3, however many names. And a lot of it is like, okay, 5 years ago I was making this music under this name, but I don't identify with that anymore.
That's right. Yeah. And it's true, man. And I think that's why I really like music, because it lets you express and find like this hidden soul
Yeah.
inside of you that you don't know actually exists until you like, hey, you know what? Today I've realized I'm gonna use the Milky Bar Kid, and then all of a sudden, all this Milky Bar Kid essence truly just comes out, and you're like, oh shit, like.
I think you're totally right. What we're doing is actually the biggest objective is self-discovery.
Yeah, man. Facts. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like when we choose like the names that we want to represent, that's big, because now it's like it's on you to be like, okay, I gotta carry this name because I represent A, B, and C. You know?
Yeah, because it's such a conscious choice that actually, if you don't serve it, then you're doing yourself a disservice by not like rising to this thing that you want to be, that you want to like, whether it's embodying ideals or whether it's like leveling up skill wise. And yeah, I think as rappers, you know, we are shedding identities when we come out of a period of growth or change, you know, because if you are consistent and keep at the thing, you know, you are going to see that change.
Yeah, it's true. And I guess like the longer you do it as well, like you see a change in yourself. Do you mean? Especially how you hold yourself. I feel like when you start off, you don't know how you should carry yourself, and I don't think anyone knows that for ages. Do you know what I mean?
Such unfamiliar territory. So much uncertainty.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
and it's like no one teaches us that, you know, like it means, and it's like for you to navigate through life, and I guess music is being a tool to help you do that. Like I don't know, like for me that's really helped me a lot, you know, like you know, just to be able to control those moods. Do you know what I mean? And it's like to express it, and then just being able to be like, you know what, I don't need to feel like this for so long. I'm just gonna pew, you know, like
shed that skin if you need to. Actually, you've made me have quite the thought about, you know, like this podcast is it's all about being grounded and stuff, and I think one of the best ways to ground yourself is engaging with activities that help you discover who you are. That, you know, where you stop yourself. Because when you stop yourself and you really sit down and you think so hard that you like about everything, and then you're trying to like write down and articulate and understand that. You can't get more present than that.
Oh man, well said. Seriously, well said. And it's like just being able to just like put all those thoughts together and just be like, hey, you know what, like I'm damn proud of that, like I did that, man, you know. So all the MCs out there, man, keep doing your thing, like keep trying, man, make yourself proud, you know. And I guess this is what like this is about, you know, like you just wanting to find out how everyone feels about, you know. And I like the name, man, grounded, because really, man, honestly, music all kind of keeps us grounded, you know.
It enables us to have those moments of being in the present, whether that's us performing or seeing other people perform, and being so captivated by what's happening there in that moment that nothing else exists except for that. And that moment there, like you hold on to that moment for months, or ages.
Facts, man.
Sometimes you hold on to that, you know, moment for years or whatever.
It's facts, man. And it's like, it's those moments that kind of get you through to be like, okay, wow, this is it. Like, this is how I want to pursue my life, you know? And it's not even about getting the money. It's more about just kind of discovering yourself as an expressionist.
Right. And then being able to take that person that you've discovered through that and engage and participate in a community of people who are doing that shit too.
Yeah, man. How crazy is that?
It's crazy. And like, you know, 10 years ago, if you asked me, like, you know, 10 years from now, do you think that all your friends are going to be rappers? I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I can't even stand those people. What are you talking about?
What?
Yeah. There'd be no chance. But now it's like, you know, kind of people I hang around with are people who are interested in figuring out themselves, their minds, and being able to share and articulate that with other people. That's fucking powerful. And whether that's like going to a spoken word poetry night and just having people do that, like no music, but it is expression, it's poetry, it's, you know, it's self-discovery and vulnerability and all those things. And when they can like come into a room full of people and everyone's sitting there in silence to like hear them, and they have they have their moment where they actually do feel seen and heard. And,
yeah, man.
And yeah, I think those moments are, they're healing. They're important for so many different reasons.
Yeah, well said. And it's like, I'll add on to that, man. Like, I like how you said, like, healing, because it does, man. You know, like, you hear some of the bars people write.
Yeah.
You know, like, Michelle, Tiger Bomb MC.
Hey, shout out.
Oh, what's up? What's up?
Yeah.
God damn. Every time, man. Every time I hear some of her real stuff, I'm like, ooh, my nuts hurt. I'm like, oh, man, that's some real shit.
I think she's an incredible example of somebody who only spits directly from themselves. You know, there's not, because you can do some live filtering in the moment. You can, you could try and not be completely yourself in those moments. But if you're rapping about like, you know, whether it's your mental health or your life experience, whether that's like shit house or not, you know, when you get up there, and I think, you know, it's one thing, you know, it means so much for the person who's able to go out there and let it out. That's great. But for the audience, it's like, that person's being real.
Yeah.
They're being fucking real.
Yeah, man.
And I'm feeling it. And it's not that gives me permission to be real, but it certainly builds a culture of people being more open and honest.
Yeah, it's true. Because I definitely feel like with rap as well, it's like, it's bar heavy, man. You mean real hip hop heads for reals? Like, bars. You better have bars. Yeah. I mean, realness or not, doesn't matter. You know? True.
They're looking for a different thing. They're looking at it from like a real craft and tech perspective.
Yeah. And it's good. Like, that's why I love Melbourne, man. Like, everyone's got their own kind of niche. And everyone's very supportive of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, you know, the niche and the different pockets thing, it is a cool element of Melbourne, but ideally we unify.
Yeah. Oh, man, well said.
And I think there's people like, you know, Shining and Tea, part of Breaking Bread, and you know, yourself and so many people that we know that that is the intention. You're going out there to make more connections. You're going out there to see the community grow and see it be as live and energetic and as cool as it could be.
Yeah, it's true. And that, like, man, I keep having this feeling, and I don't know how many times I've told this to people. The thing where it's like, I feel like Melbourne's coming up. You know what I mean? Like, that the energy, just so many more open mics everywhere, east, west, north, south, man. They're all popping up, and it's like, man, like, I've seen Abe do his thing at St. Kilda. There's another one. It's called Ripe Hip Hop. I think that opened up.
Oh, cool. Does he host and hold that down there?
No. He just went. Yeah, he just went.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, for him to go there to do that thing, it's like, that's a connection already of a bridge.
Branching out.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, can you imagine when all of Melbourne, frick, we could rock our own concert, yo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, the heads know that more than like the general public and the audience. And it's interesting with Australia, you know, like many other countries, we consume a lot of content and music from other countries, mainly the United States or whatever.
Facts.
You know, and I don't think it's a mentality of not wanting to support our own. I think it's just a lack of awareness or ignorance around what is really happening. And like, as a average punter or whatever, how can you know unless they're making a lot of noise?
Bad. Well said. Because I definitely fell for that trap, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, like the first rappers I heard was Left Eye, TLC. That's the first thing that got me into rap.
Yeah.
TLC. And I heard Left Eye rap. I was like, what is she doing?
Yeah, true.
I was like, who are these people? This is from a Filipino kid.
Yeah.
That came to Australia that was 10. Like, only music I ever heard was like classics, man.
Right.
My dad used to play instruments. Yeah. So it's like, there'd be like, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire, Temptations, you know, like. Right. It would just be
real radio classics.
Yeah. And it's like to hear, I guess it would be rap. It would consider as rap TLC. Yeah. Blew my mind, man. And then after that, I was like, I didn't hear anything. It's like what you said.
Yeah.
It made so much noise that basically the Australian scene was forgotten.
Right. And that's, you know, like, it doesn't matter what you're impacted by as long as you're impacted.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I feel like it doesn't matter how you entered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially as a punter, it doesn't matter. It's like whatever music resonates with you, you know, like, you know, no MC deserves an audience or people to be down with their shit, you know, like none of that is guaranteed or deserved or, You know, you're not entitled
Yeah,
to
yeah.
any of that, really. So yeah, it is. I think we're at an interesting point as artists and
Yeah.
performers, like me, especially. It's like, you know, so many of my gigs has been more MCs in the audience than
Yeah.
punters, and
Yeah.
you know, that is certainly a double-edged sword in the sense of like, okay, cool. If I can rap for MCs and they can get on board, that means that technically there's something
Yeah, there.
happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's a cool part of validation, but it's not the same experience as having like fresh audience come in and vibe with you out of nowhere because you've won them over in that moment because what you're doing is authentic and real.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And I think that's the one thing, like, time lets you figure it out, especially this craft, man. Like, and that's why it's funny you mentioned that, because recently that's what I've been thinking about. Like, how do you connect with the crowd?
Yeah.
By how you deliver your voice and the things that you say.
Yeah.
And especially like a shot kickers, yo, man, like, for you to deliver your voice over a live band, it's intense.
Yeah,
It's intense.
There's a lot to negotiate with.
Yeah, yeah, you know. So it's like, I guess, yeah, as time goes on, like, I feel like you'll eventually find out how you can reach the audience. Do you mean? Because it's like, because it's your niche, your style, you know.
Yeah, you have to go out and find those people.
Yeah, yeah, really. And it's like, and I think that's the beautiful thing about this, man. You know, like, it's a forever learning thing.
Oh yeah, you know, on so many different levels. Because I mean, you know, we know people, you know, like Shining or Ruckman or Kudos who've been doing this for 15 or 20 years.
Bad.
Right? They're still at it. They're still active. They're still
Yeah,
learning.
man.
They're still doing different things. They're still making the shit, and they're still like engaged with it. So you know that like, okay, well, once I put 10 years into it, I'm just gonna be a god, and you know, it's all gonna be like everyone will know I'm the most legit motherfucker out there. Yeah, exactly. It's wild. Yeah, it's like this. It's like this eternal series of lessons, and then you know, there's.
Facts.
It's one thing to you know, think about the craft and the technique and everything, but yeah, as you're kind of touching on before, it's like, but how do you move the people? How do you engage with an audience? And you know, for me, the experience of putting myself in, because I tell you what, if people don't know, and I do bring this up a little bit, but the open mic scene in Melbourne is crazy. From Monday to Thursday, there's pretty much like a handful of different places or things that you could go to.
Bad facts.
To
You'll
do.
better check it out.
So like, you know, tonight, we're here at Red Betty. So on Wednesdays, they've got an open mic here for music and stuff. And then on Tuesdays, they do like comedy and stuff. But also in Thornbury, High Street, Thornbury Local, have got one of the best open mic scenes or spots in Melbourne as well. Every Wednesday every Wednesday they do their thing. On Monday nights, there's like in Yarraville, there's the Vault, you know, and they do their thing there. And there's this Sloth on Tuesdays and Footscray, and like,
man,
you know,
it goes off.
It goes
so
off and it
good,
goes
man.
on. And like, for me, you know, I take my 15 minutes worth of music that I'm kind of working on that moment, and I go to any of these nights, and I don't know anybody. I go there on my own, and just to like have these moments of one person out of the 8 or 10 people in the audience after the fact being like, hey, that was interesting. Like,
man.
I don't really listen to hip hop or whatever, but that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
You know?
true, man. It's true, because it's like, and it's nice how you said you go by yourself, because most of the time that's like, I feel like for people that's probably one of the scariest things. But I guess like, you know, because we're going into an environment where it is about music, super chilled.
Yeah, and we're all the same people.
Yeah,
you know, like I feel like
man.
it doesn't matter what other person you're thinking about or talking about. Like, you know, there's always going to be more common ground than uncommon
Facts,
ground.
man. Facts.
Always.
Facts. Yeah.
You know, so you know, that's why I always put people before politics, because, you know, regardless of what people believe on that level,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like the actual humanity that we all share is just so much bigger than all of that.
Oh, yeah. Well said, man. Because it's true. Because it's like, when I don't know, it's probably the only place I've ever felt it where it's like, people actually get along, man.
Right.
You mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, what nights have we been to where there's been some kind of weird beef or whatever? There's like nothing, you know?
yeah,
It's so rare, and it's like such a odd, occasional thing if there's any weirdness that goes on.
Yeah, and it's very, like, I even went to, have you heard of Nerve? Nerve? He's from...
The artist, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, from Queensland, yeah.
Yeah, so I went to one of his events.
Yeah.
And it went off, yeah?
Hey.
And you know, that energy, that drill energy is like...
Huge.
It's huge, right?
Yeah.
But man, everyone's loved, bro.
Yeah,
Everyone's loved.
right. And there's
Oh
probably
my
this
God.
misconception of
Yeah.
people like either being fucking violent or
Yeah.
whatever, but when you're in that space, it's
Nah.
all love, eh?
Yeah, it is, man. Like, even just the energy they bring out. Because really, man, you think about it, all the different types of raps or even music, it's all in us. We just don't know how to express it. You know?
Yeah.
There's a bit of country in us. There's a bit of
Absolutely.
jazz. There's a bit of like drill. There's a bit of trap.
Flamenco.
Yeah.
He gets it. You get a lot of flamenco.
That's
in
what's
you.
up. That's what's up.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck, that's fantastic.
That was sick.
So what are your like what are your kind of movements or thoughts, you know, like moving forward? Is there
Yeah.
anything that you want to do, like have you had your first gig yet?
Nah. And I'm glad you asked this.
Yeah,
'cause
please.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Because it's like, for me, I feel like because I'm just starting, I've just learned to control my voice
Yeah.
and how to project it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to take my time with it. And it's like, I've got like 2 albums ready, but
Right.
to present it where the crowd can feel my voice through it, that's a different thing, you know? So it's
Totally.
like, I want to perform, but I know it's not going to be 200% of myself. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, I'm just doing it for the sake of performing, if that makes sense.
What I would
mean?
strongly recommend, and
Yeah.
have you recorded anything yet?
Yeah.
Recorded
I
bits
have.
and pieces?
Yeah.
The new process that I've had when it comes to recording stuff
Please.
is I don't record something unless I've performed it live a bunch.
Yeah.
Um,
That's it.
And a lot of that is like, what I really strongly recommend you do is, you know, get 3 or 4 tracks together that you'll feel most comfortable with, put the instrumentals or whatever on a USB, go to open mics
Yeah.
and perform them.
Yeah.
Just in front of anyone. And what you're doing, because I did this for so many years. I mean, I always do it. I do it actually pretty consistently. Even like if I've got a
Yeah.
gig coming up,
Yeah.
I'll do open mics for like, you know, the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it,
Yeah,
just
nice.
to be
Get
ready.
used to, yeah.
But what you're doing is mainly you're working on your stagecraft and your presence, which
Yeah,
is the
that's
thing that
it.
you're trying to access. And, you know, we all have these ideas of like when we want to hit the stage, we want to be it.
Yeah.
But you actually don't know what that is
Yeah.
until you run that simulation 100 fucking
Yeah,
times.
it's
dude.
true. It's true. And like, that's exactly what it needs. Do you know what I mean? Like, right now, I'm just simulating it,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, I've got the voice for, say...
But you're simulating it in your bedroom.
Yeah. Oh,
you
outside.
need to
Yeah.
live simulate it. And like, I guess, you know, Shot Kickers is interesting
Yeah.
because sure, you could maybe test a verse,
That's it.
but it's different. You're almost forced to improvise and get on board with what's happening there.
Yeah.
Instead of doing your own thing on your own terms.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Well said. And it's, like, I definitely do want to do that. And it's like, just seeing everyone perform it, definitely, man. I tell you what, all the performances I've seen this year
Hey,
has got me hyped. Yo, so many. And
there's been
it's
so many.
like-
So let's name some of them. So you saw Breaking Bread's first show at Laundry.
Yep.
And what was that? That was like Ruckman, Shining.
Yeah. Oh, man, there was a few.
Who else was on there? You remember?
Nah, I can't, honestly.
So that was one.
Yeah.
You've
and
been
then-
to what, 2 or 3 Cactus Room gigs?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Ruckman album launch and Kudos album launch.
Yep.
Where else have you been? Aside from like Shot Kickers and like Dojo stuff.
Let's have a look. I'm trying to think. Oh, with the Nerve,
Yeah.
that one,
Yep.
that was sick.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go see Ekka's
Oh, yeah.
thing on, I think it's next Friday.
Yeah.
Shout out Ekka.
Hey,
Yeah.
huge shout outs.
Yeah. So, just even seeing just those small handfuls,
Yeah.
Like, oh, and Rhiannon and Meg. Oh, man. Singers. Yo, bro. Yo, that's a different level of, like, soulness. You know what I mean?
They're powerful.
Yeah, man. And it hits you different. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, Ruckman's album launch, that really got me, man.
It was huge.
That whole energy that was in there, that felt like a stadium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that really resonates with me till this day, man. I'm Killing with Success. That is probably the one song for me in such a long time where I felt like, wow, like I gotta play this on repeat, yo.
It's really cool when a hip hop track gives you an idea or a concept to hold on to. Yeah. That's like visceral, that's actionable. It's like that, it gives you a mindset because, Killing with Success, it's like, exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Literally, man. And it's like the way I thought about it when I heard that song was like, anytime you have any type of self-doubt or even when times get down, you know what? Don't look towards the negative. Just keep moving, kill it with success. Yeah. Literally kill all these negative intentions or like all these bad vibes, people telling you, what do you think you're doing? Nah. Kill it with your own success. And success is really just purpose practice, man.
Just staying active, staying in it.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, man, like shout out to Mr. Ruckman, Shinan, and Tanya George. God damn, y'all killed that.
Huge. All right, well, I want to do something that we haven't done before on the podcast, but I want us to make a pact that either that like sometime the next 2 or 3 months we go to an open mic together. Yeah. You do a set and I do a set.
Oh, snap. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like that. You know why?
Talk to me.
Because it pushes both of us to be like, this is where we kind of want to go.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one song.
Well, that's the thing. You can certainly just do, that's the thing. Like, the cool thing about open mics is there's kind of no rules except for don't be an absolute cunt. Like, there's really... It's like no many other rules.
Totally.
And it feels like you kind of get that.
yeah, bad, man.
It's like, no, thank you.
Yeah, nah, it's true.
So, like, whether it is one song or 2 songs, like, whatever gets you up there, because I swear, once you get up there and you do it, you're like, I should probably do this a couple times a month, you know? And then all of a sudden, it's early next year, and you've done, like, a handful of open mics, and you're like... You know what? I'm ready to do a 15 or 20 minute set, wherever the fuck, and then that means that you've gone through some of the technical troubleshooting things on the mic. On the night, you understand like how to talk to the sound engineer or the person that's doing sound at night.
I think that's probably one of my biggest issues there. Like I don't know nothing about it. I've dabbled in it.
Right.
And when I mean dabbled, I mean really dabbled.
Yeah. Well, the coolest thing is you don't need to know really anything technical. All you have to do is communicate with that person and say like, hey, I'm this person. I'm doing this tonight. Is there anything we have to talk about or flesh out before we do it? And that's not what all people who go to open mics do. But once you start like developing these little relationships with people like that, like next minute you got somebody asking you to do a gig.
Yeah. Facts. I like that.
So in this year or in the new year, if we were to make the pact?
Oh man, I'll have to say next year. In the new year, yeah. Just
in the new year.
You know how these two? Oh man, I don't know.
It's busy as fuck.
Yo, man. When did everyone decide to have babies in November?
That's,
like what There's so many people born in November. Like what the hell is that?
I'm born in November.
That's what's up, Dave. That's
what's up.
So it's like in December as well. Yo, man.
True. All right, cool. Like, well, let's aim for like halfway through January.
Yeah, man.
That'd be great. I appreciate it.
Oh man, mad love.
Of course.
Respect.
All right. SR, is there anything you want to kind of leave us with as kind of like a final thought? I guess like my prompt would probably be like, is there anything that you do as like a daily or weekly practice that kind of helps you keep level-headed, grounded, or just in it?
The main thing is putting time aside for yourself.
Yeah. Not
just music, like actually your own mental thought, your own energy, and just you don't have to sit with it for too long, man. Just kind of try and understand, okay, well, I'll give an example. Like this morning, because I live with my parents, parents will always want something good for their kids. You know, they're just worried. That's it, straight up. You know, and it's
Totally.
old school generation as well. Yeah, right. And it's like there was some things that were said that was like, it was a bit like I would say it was a negative energy. It was just basically, you know, putting stuff down. But went off for a little bit, wrote some stuff, and just had like 2 hours to myself just to process, okay, well, why did I feel this way? Why did he say that? You know, just like,
Yeah.
because really, you know, what we said in the beginning, like, people don't know how to express, and nothing that anyone says is based on us. It's just in their head, they're trying to think, this might help him, but man, there's so many ways to say so many things that it can mess with your head.
They're probably just guessing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know. So, yeah, my final thought is just like, you give yourself that time, respect yourself, love yourself, and just be the truest you can when you're just alone for that few bits. You mean?
I think that's
know?
I think it's perfect, dude. It's funny, that's the kind of same sentiment that Ivory had as well.
Yeah.
You know, when she's like talking about, you know, being grounded or whatever, and you know what she does within the week to kind of, you know, keep her level headed. And yeah, I think that is, you have to get comfortable and you have to appreciate, and you actually have to make sure you have time for yourself.
Yeah.
And look, you know, some people use that as a opportunity to do meditation or breath work, whatever.
That's it.
But if you're just sitting, acknowledging, you know, and following your thoughts, maybe considering or pondering the week, you know, and I think your example was very good, because there was something that affected you that you needed to like sit with and process.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like after that, you know, now you're going to go after the person that put you in that position. It's like, I just needed to really feel that, process that, and now I can let it go, you know?
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah. So that's it, man. Yeah, just be ourselves as best as we can.
One last thing, actually.
Holla.
So I've got this Spotify playlist called Grounded Tunes.
Correct.
And every podcast episode I'll add a track from the artist. So if you have, of any of the like heads in the scene, if you could recommend one track, and maybe you already did, if you had to recommend one track that I add to this playlist.
To add to this playlist?
Yeah, what would it be?
Oh, man, kill him with success, bro.
It's done. It's done. There it is. All right, cool.
That's it. What's up?
Yeah, perfect.
Forever love for that track, man. Damn.
Yeah.
It's a rebirth.
Totally. All right. Big ups, everybody. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Grounded with DillyDave. You can catch this on all of the platforms. We got video on the YouTube. We got audio and everywhere you could want it. Stay grounded, stay fresh, stay well.
Stay fresh, peeps. Thanks
Cheers.
for having me, bro.
Thanks for
Mad
coming.
love.
Mad love, bro. Yes.